What's up, Mavericks fans? Before we get into the latest rumors around the Dallas Mavericks, we are going to bring back a chat sports staple here to Dallas Mavericks Today. That, of course, is our mailbag. So use hashtag Mavs in the comments and ask me your questions. For example, hashtag Mavs. Should the Mavericks go sign DeAndre Ayton? That could be an example of a question. Should the Mavs go trade for Kevin Durant? I don't care what your questions are, but I do care about how good they are because the better questions get on the show. So submit your trade ideas, free agency, offseason, whatever it is. Use the hashtag Mavs, and we'll answer as many as we can on a future video. You're watching Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Obviously, the season is over, which stinks, but the offseason rumors are here. And Marc Stein, who writes his own Substack and covers the Mavs in the NBA, says that the Dallas Mavericks are interested in one Zach LaVine. Let's break this down. Here's what Stein had to say. Quote, trading for a second star level player is the Mavericks' only expected route to do so this offseason. With no cap flexibility in the near future and a determination to re-sign guard Jalen Brunson, that will cement Dallas' status as a luxury tax team for the first time since the title run. Sources nonetheless maintain that one option already being weighed by Team Brass is the prospect of joining the sign-and-trade bidding for Chicago Bulls Zach LaVine, amid a growing belief around the league that LaVine, as he heads into free agency, has more interest in leaving Chicago than initially presumed. If you are able to add Zach LaVine via a sign-and-trade while keeping Jalen Brunson and, of course, Luka Doncic, that makes you a major contender coming off a year where you already made the conference finals and are a little bit ahead of schedule. Zach LaVine is a top 10 scorer in this league. Over the last 5 seasons, he's averaging 24.5 points. He can shoot the ball from deep. He can handle. He can play on ball. He can play off ball. Not the best defender, but if you have 2 25-point scorers in Zach LaVine and Luka Doncic, a 20-point scorer in Jalen Brunson, wing defenders like Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith, who cares who the center is? Just get someone slightly better than Dwight Powell. Zach LaVine gives you a true second elite scorer. Jalen Brunson showed he could be that in the postseason, but if he's your number 3 and LaVine is your number 2, okay, you're cooking with gas at that point. Like, you're feeling really, really good about where things sit, and it gives you flexibility. You could bring Brunson off the bench if you want to, as well as a super sixth man. Zach LaVine is a flat-out bucket and can give you 30 pretty much every single night. So here's a sign-and-trade idea. Not sure it would be enough, but it's intriguing enough. Zach LaVine to Dallas for Tim Hardaway, Davis Bertans, and a 2025 first. The reason it might be enough is Zach LaVine's a free agent, and if he goes to Bulls Brass and it says, hey, I want to play for the Mavericks, they can't do anything because he's unrestricted. So you would have to take something like that if you are Chicago, and quite frankly, you should be thrilled because you'd be getting a first for a guy who could simply walk in free agency. This is where trading Kristaps Porzingis really helps you because you have more of these kind of medium-sized contracts that are tradable assets, easy to move. Davis Bertans, Hardaway, Dinwiddie, Powell, Kleba, all these guys have tradable contracts. Porzingis's wasn't easy to move, but they were able to pull it off. And now that they were, you've got 5, 6, 7 contracts that are in that, $10 to $18 million range, and those are a lot easier to move than a max contract like Kristaps Porzingis, so Dallas can get involved in some of these discussions if they choose to do so. And, man, just the thought of Zach LaVine playing next to Luka, it's early. I know the Mavs haven't been major players in free agency in the past. They also haven't had a Luka Doncic coming off a Western Conference Finals run in the past either. If you want Zach LaVine in Dallas, just type MFFL down in the comments. Why wouldn't you? You'd be adding a top 10 scorer, a top 15 type player to Luka Doncic, who is a cemented top 5 player in the league. So spam MFFL if you want Zach LaVine in Dallas with the Dallas Mavericks. Get it going down in the comment section because I, for one, would love to have Zach LaVine with the Dallas Mavericks. All right, Mavs fans, share this video on Twitter. Let's get it spread all across the internet. And hey, more people that share, the more people I will be retweeting on Twitter. So follow these steps. Click the share icon, which is right below the video when you see it right now, right next to the like icon. Then select Twitter, and then you tag me at HGramNFL. Don't worry about the NFL. I cover the NBA too here at Chat Sports. Use the hashtag MFFL and click tweet. Send it out. It's as easy as that. Follow those 5 steps. Take a photo of it if you need to. Very, very easy. Click share. Click Twitter, tag me in it, use the hashtag, and then send out the tweet, and you are good to go. Every single person that tags me in this, I'm going to retweet you on Twitter. It's at HGramNFL. Let's keep the trade rumors going. How about OG Anunoby, who could be made available this offseason? This one comes from Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report. He had this to say about Anunoby. Following a standout season from Rookie of the Year Scotty Barnes, word has circulated among rival front offices that Anunoby grew dissatisfied at times with his role in Toronto, where Barnes joined Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet as the primary ball handlers in Nick Nurse's offense. 2 sources with knowledge of the dynamic told Bleacher Report that Anunoby has not directly expressed discontent with his situation with the Raptors. Perhaps the conversation around him has been driven more by external interest in acquiring the 5th-year forward services. Now, OG Anunoby as a potential fit would be great because the Mavs needed another wing this offseason. This playoff run. Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, they were playing 40-plus minutes a game. They were lacking a guy like OG Anunoby. They really missed Tim Hardaway Jr. to eat up some of those minutes. You add OG Anunoby to the mix, who has been an excellent perimeter defender since entering the league and an improving scorer every single year. He averaged 17 this year, 10 for his career, but he's ascending in that area. He's a good shooter, and like I said, a versatile defender who can guard multiple positions. That would be great. 16 points 2 years ago, 17 points per game last year. I think if you brought him in here, he'd be your 3rd or 4th scorer. You know, he's in that 15 to 17 point range, but with his defense, with his versatility, you could ease the load off Bullock and Finney-Smith. I think that would be really, really good for a guy who's still only 24 years old. It seems like Anunoby's been around forever because he was on that Raptors title team a few years ago, but we forget that actually wasn't that long ago. So I like this idea. It gives you that 3-wing rotation where Jason Kidd can stagger minutes and, you know, Bullock could come off the bench because I think Anunoby would start if you were to trade for him. But then in crunch time, all 3 of them could play together if needed. You could switch on screens. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now, if you're Finney-Smith or Bullock, how are you going to accept coming off the bench? Hopefully well. I don't think Finney-Smith would come off the bench. I do think it would be Reggie Bullock, as Finney-Smith just got a pretty nice contract extension, of course. But again, you know, that's part of having a title team. You got to have some selflessness somewhere. You got to have guys who are willing to accept their roles. Reggie Bullock came off the bench a lot this year. He could go back into that role, and Anunoby could plug in and start, which is what I would expect if they were to acquire him. Rate your level of interest in trading for OG Anunoby. Scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being very interested. I'm at like an 8, 8.5. He's developed nicely in the developmental factory that is the Toronto Raptors, and I think he'd be an excellent fit at a position of need. Quite frankly, you need another wing if you are the Dallas Mavericks, and I think Anunoby could help fill that void. All right, also circling back to Marc Stein's report on Substack. Go check that out. He has good stuff. He also reported that the Mavs plan to keep Theo Pinson and Boban Marjanovic. Pinson, of course, was a part of the bench mob, ultimate glue guy. And, you know, I thought toward the end of the regular season when he was on that 2-way contract last year, he actually showed some flashes, could give you some run at least during the regular season. And, you know, if his role in the playoffs is, you know, being that hype man on the sideline, I think as your 15th man, that's actually pretty darn valuable. Now, the key, what I just said, is the 15th man, because he is ineligible for a 2-way contract based on accrued season, so he can't play on a 2-way contract. He'd have to be part of your 15-man roster, which means you'd likely have to cut somebody, or if the Mavs make some trades, that could free up a roster spot as well. And, of course, you got to keep Boban. I mean, the guy's drinking beers with Luka Doncic after games. You think Luka is going to let his European buddy go? I don't think so. I think he's going to be back with the Mavericks. And, hey, you know, during the regular season, he'll get some occasional run on some load management nights, and he's also part of that bench mob as well. So, third center, bring him back. Theo Pinson. It's important to have glue guys at the end of your roster, and that is exactly what Pinson and Marjanovic bring to the table. Now, if they do re-sign Pinson and he's on the 15-man roster, who's a player you think the Mavs should cut? 2 guys come to mind, Sterling Brown and Trey Burke. Those are the two guys. If you're going to cut one, I think it would be one of those two. Maybe you think it's someone else. A lot of you guys will probably say Dwight Powell. That's actually not the answer because you need front court depth. But here's what you guys think down in the comments. Who should the Mavs cut to make room for Theo Pinson?